Welcome back to the Bloom Room. I'm serving you quarantine realness. So my hair has been straight for more than a week. I haven't brushed it, combed it, nothing of that nature. A lot of you guys have been asking me to finish the Universal Law series, which is a long time coming, but finally here it is. The sixth universal law, which is the law of cause and effect, which, like a lot of the other laws, it seems pretty common sense, but when broken down, it's really profound and can help you kind of take control of your life when everything seems like you're just subject to it. So jumping right in, law of cause and effect states in the Kabbalion, every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. We've talked before about the different planes that exist in our universe, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual planes. And, this law is basically going to state that everything in this universe happens for a reason. And not only to put it so simply, happens for a reason, but everything has its root. So when it says chance is but a name for law not recognized, when it comes to chance or random events or chaos, chance is just a name for a cause which exists but is not recognized or understood by us. So to every event, there is a cause and a reaction. Every thought we think, every act we perform has its direct and its indirect causes when it comes to the great chain of life. And Hermeticists, they believe that life is literally a chain of events. And this is not to be confused. Some people wonder, how can one thing cause another thing? Energy is not created nor destroyed, and so no thing causes another thing. But Hermeticists, they look at this in terms of events, and they define an event as something that comes or happens preceding another event. So no event is causing another, but is only a preceding link in the continuous chain of life, if that makes sense. Everything that comes before and everything that follows, there is a continuity, there is a relatedness in all things past, present, and future. This is one of the reasons why figuring out the causes of something can be so hard. It can be kind of like delayering an onion. It can become very complex. This is when we start to look at things like the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect, which is, kind of in with the chaos theory, states that a very small change in initial conditions can create a significantly different outcome. That's kind of where this saying comes from, of like the flap of a butterfly's wings, that motion or that energy can go and create or cause an earthquake in a different part of the world. Something significantly super small, just one slight change can create a significantly different outcome. So your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions, they are all working together to create and to manifest your life as it is now. So when it comes to cause and effect, we can use this law along with the law of attraction to manifest. It can greatly enhance our manifesting abilities. The major key, or the major component of this law that helps us manifest, is our awareness. Our awareness that every decision, it sets off a chain of reactions, which then goes on to create more reactions and goes on to define our lives. This law states that achieving success in any endeavor is possible if you are completely aware of what you are doing in these big and small moments. So we can kind of use this law to make the right decisions by taking right action, which is a Buddhist term and approach to life. Right action is in the ethical conduct portion of the Wheel of Dharma, which is basically stating in Buddhism to take care in your speech, your thoughts, and your actions to create or cultivate wholesomeness and to minimize or to do no harm. So basically it means to be wholesome, to act ideally, to act mindfully. That is the biggest definition of right action, is to live mindfully. in your speech, your thoughts, and your actions. It means to act without being attached to your own agendas. The Sanskrit word for action is actually karma, and karma, the meaning of that is volitional or willful, intentional action. Karma means the things that we choose to do, whether we are choosing consciously or unconsciously. So the Buddhist definition of right action entails don't steal, don't lie, don't abuse sex, and don't abuse intoxicants. In modern day, I like to view right action as basically living mindfully and doing everything in mindfulness. So that's obviously don't steal, don't lie, don't abuse sex, don't misuse intoxicants. But to go a step further, it's generally to do everything in mindfulness. It is the act of touching love and preventing harm. It is mindful speech, mindful thoughts, mindful actions, and mindful consumption. So this law is so important because it's telling us, it's fucking screaming at us, there are no accidents, there are no mistakes, and your life is not this random string of events that, you know, you're allowed to do whatever you want and everything just happens randomly. That's where the difference of our definition of karma and the actual definition of karma is. We think of karma as, you know, if I do this, then that means I deserve this. But in reality, karma is you're doing these things and they're having reactions. Every event, and when I say event, I mean thought, action, behavior, every form of energy that you are creating is having a reaction, and that reaction is causing, you know, what happens to you. And this law is so important and powerful because it's telling us that our lives are our responsibilities to a certain extent. While we cannot control literally what happens to us, we can use the law of cause and effect to look beyond the veil, to kind of, you know, using law of correspondence. I can control in each moment, big and small, the choices, the energy that I'm putting out, which is not only coming back to me. Obviously, we already knew that everything comes back to you, but it's creating a chain of events. It's creating a chain of energetic, you know, links that is creating your life. And how you react to these circumstances, how you react to these thoughts, these people, that is determining how you feel on a daily basis. And how you feel is, in essence, you know, essentially constantly transforming everything. One important thing to remember with this law is how you react to images, thoughts, ideas about yourself is very powerful. Law of cause and effect is one of the reasons that we are able to shift up from lower vibrational versions of ourselves, and also one of the reasons why we will be stuck in past versions of ourselves when all we want to do is shift up into, you know, our higher selves. How you're viewing yourself is majorly important, because if you're not devoting every thought and action to your conscious self, it's going on to create its own self, which only reacts to what you know, which is the same old shit. It's important how you view yourself, the ideas, images, and thoughts you have about yourself, not only your current self, but your past self, your past traumas, because this law pretty much states everything past, present, and future, everything that you've been through, everything you are, and everything you are becoming. It's not separate. It's a continuity, like I said, and it's all related, and it's all working together. All of these energies, whether you think you're above it or not, are working together to go on to create your conditions, your circumstances in your life. Thoughts create causes. Thoughts give meaning to our circumstances. Powerful. And, you know, Hermeticists believe that free will only exists in thought. The only free will that we really truly on a core level have is in our mind, in the mental plane of our reality. We have fake free will, and fake free will is what goes on to help us learn conditioning, which creates learned behavior, patterns, learned reactions, learned thoughts, and thought interpretations. All of these things are learned because we think that we have free will, and the fact of, I can choose to do this and it will make me more like this type of person. You know, those are all things that are essentially contributing to our ego. And the only true free will that we have exists in our mind. And the true free will that we have is also the reason why we will be able to unlearn these thought interpretations, these thought patterns, and basically this conditioning. It's having mental control over everything that you think is, everything that you think you know to be true about yourself and about your world. It's unlearning these things and allowing right action and mindful action, and, you know, breathing into every moment consciously, conscious action, conscious thought. That is what's going to deliver us from everything we've ever known and take us to the chain of events that we want our life to look like. So basically, law of cause and effect is finding power, remembering our power in a random chaotic world where we feel powerless. So with this law, we can unlearn what hinders us, and we can learn which actions and which thoughts it will take to trigger the causes, which will then go on to create the effects that we desire. To unlearn the things that keep us the same and stuck in patterns and loops. And with practiced mindfulness, with practiced conscious intention, consciously redirecting your thoughts about yourself and about your circumstances to ones of higher frequencies. And after a certain amount of practice, you're going to see the effects of, you know, changing the smallest thing in initial conditions, changing the smallest thought pattern, which, you know, everything in every moment in our life is small, but they're all working together. They're all events. They're all a chain. And so they may be so small, you know, an initial change in one thought will become a huge change in your frequency. It will become a huge change in your life, and it will become a huge change in overall how you see yourself and how you see the world. Hopefully this makes sense. It's kind of been a long time since I made a video, but if you have any questions about this law, how to implement this law, how this law can help you, any specific questions when it comes to any causes or effects that you have seen in your life, just comment below. We can all talk it out. And you know, just kind of a reminder that you don't have control of everything essentially, but you have control of the small things, and the small things are what goes on to affect the big things, which is how you feel every day. So, you know, I'm not gonna say stay positive, that's super cliche, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing that shit, you know, but during this time of isolation, I guess you could say, I would just try to view it as productively as you can, although it seems so counterintuitive to view a time of stagnancy as a time of productivity. I would say, you know, put this law to use. Try it out by changing how you're viewing the quarantine and the self-isolation, from something that's lonely and isolating and stagnant into something that ultimately is very productive and will go on to help not only us but the environment and the world in essence. So thank you guys for your support. Any questions, comment below, and just, you know, stay strong, stay focused, and just stay mindful.